Whilst an elite group of athletes crouch into beginning blocks at Paris Stade de France this weekend, their bodies stressful with adrenaline and anticipation, it's tough to ignore that the following 10 seconds should outline their lives and careers. Few sporting occasions command the eye of the arena, like the men's and women's Olympic 100-meter finals, and few vicinity such an excessive weight of expectation on an athlete. How do you silence your nerves whilst a hush descends on the stadium? How do you quieten the mind when an audience of tens of millions is set to observe the largest race of your existence? I think it was the worst pressure you can ever be positioned underneath. British former sprinter Alan Wells, who received 100 millimeters gold at the 1980 Moscow Olympics, instructed CNN Recreation. "You run through it on your head thousands of instances. The start, the gun going off," Wells delivered. "I suppose it's the apprehension of what's going to show up. You were given to get a great start. You've got to get into your running as speedy as possible." Expert sprinters, of course, are conversant in appearing in this kind of environment. The artwork of exiting a beginning block, thighs pumping and elbows driving, is one to which they have devoted many hours of painstaking exercise. However, at the Olympics, the stakes are higher than ever before. This is, after all, the most watched occasion of the fortnight, with an audience of 35 million tuning in for Usain Bolt's victory at the 2016 Rio Video Games on NBC. An error right here can be disastrous. Take British sprinter Jarnell Hughes, for example, who became disqualified from the 100 meters very last in Tokyo 3 years in the past for leaping out the blocks too quickly. He later attributed the mistake to cramping in his calf, explaining in a social media put up how the pain of disqualification cuts real deep. It's a destiny that each athlete inside the guys' and girls' races this year, maximum of all Hughes, may be determined to keep away from as they aim to preserve their nerves and emotions in check on the start line. "It turned into the worst feeling you can ever have, but nevertheless be on top of things of what you have been hoping to reap," said Wells, considered one of most effective 3 British sprinters to win 100-meter gold on the Olympics. "Place me in that state of affairs proper now today, and I assume I might simply have a heart assault." For Olympic sprinters, intellectual coaching is simply as, if not more, important than how they put together bodily. The legendary Bolt, winner of 3 consecutive 100-meter gold medal among 2008 and 2016, stated that he might strive not to overthink matters. Bolt became famously relaxed at the place to begin, fist-bumping race officers and gambling up to the group with gestures and poses. To distract himself before a race, he has formally stated that he would possibly reflect on consideration on gambling video games or what he might have for dinner that evening. For a few, the task is in final calm, whilst additionally being totally centered at the assignment handed. A mixture of utmost strength and utmost rest, even as the entire international is looking. That is surely what's in front of you. Donovan Bailey, Canada's 1996 Olympic 100-meter champion, told CNN Sport. "You have to include all of those matters and be completely comfortable and definitely comfortable." Every so often, I attempt to tell athletes, imagine yourself simply sitting in your residing room watching television. That's sincerely what it's miles, and it's as simple as that. Bailey ran a report-breaking time of 9:84 seconds when he received gold in Atlanta to come to be the reigning Olympic champion, world champion, and global record holder. Never quick on self-belief, by no means thinking his ability, Bailey thrived on the largest ranges, famously orchestrating a one-on-one race over 150 meters in opposition to Michael Johnson in the front of a TV audience of hundreds of thousands. "Whilst the light becomes shining brightest, I was usually at my finest consolation," he stated. "And so any of the athletes I talk over with now, no matter where they're from around the world, I tell them, you have to include who you are." Every athlete, then, could have a one-of-a-kind approach to big races. American Noah Lyles, as an instance, one of the favorites to win gold this weekend, likes playing to the cameras. Earlier than competing at the U.S. Olympic trials, he pulled a sequence of rare Yu-Gi-Oh! Playing cards out from underneath his dash fit as a nod to his love for anime. Noah loves the group. Joe Brown, a physio and overall performance teach who has been working with Lyles, advised CNN Sport. "That's smooth for him on the big events. He doesn't just like the smaller meets as a lot. He likes a large crowd. We had a communique once. I used to be like, 'Oh, what track did you place on to help you fireplace up?' And he goes, 'I don't definitely carry out nicely fired up. I carry out first class when I'm happy.' Track may be a clearly huge part of the build-up and the making plans of the day and what songs you've got on your playlist. Consistent with Brown, Lyles may pay attention to the Bee Gees, acknowledged for their upbeat dance hits Night Fever and Stayin' Alive earlier than a race. Different athletes, she's observed, decide upon a one-of-a-kind tactic. A few human beings, you'll see them getting genuinely fired up, getting in reality aggressive," stated Brown. "They'll beat their chest and they need to bring anger. Anger is that emotion that they basically carry secondary to the fight. Their self-talk in their head is probably something about get inside the fight or anything it is that they want to do that is a cause for them. Having labored with elite athletes across numerous sports activities, Brown is acutely privy to the way wherein strain can impact overall performance. With sprinters, she would guide them through visualizations inside the days before a race, laying out how they need to suppose and feel even as coiled up inside the beginning blocks. Inside the 100 meters, the frame. Yes, we need to have it primed and we undergo particular activation techniques, but I think it's sincerely greater approximately what the mind can do to virtually stay in the race in those first few meters, stated Brown. To execute your satisfactory overall performance, my query to anybody is, have you carried out everything on your power to execute your exceptional performance in the moment today? And if your status at the back of the blocks inside the Olympic video games, and you may solution that question and go, sure, I've executed the whole lot in my strength to execute my high-quality overall performance these days, all you need to do is do at that point. The 100 meters, 100%, it's a doing race. The complete concept with visualization is that by the point you in reality execute the race, you've already done all the work mentally and bodily. At that point, you don't ought to think you need to do. Even though Lyles is the fave to win the guys 100-meter very last on Sunday, a handful of runners, Jamaican duo Kashane Thompson and Indirect Seville, in addition to Kenyan Ferdinand Omanyala, have run similar times to the reigning international champion this year. His teammate Sha'Carri Richardson has the quickest girls' time this 12 months and will face competition from Jamaican Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price, who will quit her decorated profession after the Olympics. But the 100-meter isn't always a sincere event to predict. For Bailey, each the guys' and women's races are wide open this 12 months, mainly within the excessive pressure surroundings of an Olympic very last. It's going to be the person that's maximum prepared mentally, physically, and psychologically, and he said, in each unmarried way, you need to be the most disciplined person in that discipline.